ever get this weird feeling that, like, our cities are changing right before our eyes?
Yeah,
But
definitely.
faster than ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just reading this article
Yeah.
about how it's not just like, new buildings and stuff. It's like
Mm-hmm.
these apps, especially ones like Airbnb,
Yeah,
are practically like characters in the story of a city now.
totally. It's like we can't understand how cities work these days without talking about like actor network theory.
Okay, actor network theory.
Yeah.
Hit me with it.
So I know it sounds kind of jargony,
A little bit.
but it's actually a really cool way of thinking about like how cities function.
Okay.
Basically, it says we can't just focus on the obvious stuff anymore. Like the buildings, the streets.
Right,
We
right.
got to think about things like apps, algorithms, even those like cleaning fees on Airbnb
Yeah.
as having their own kind of influence on how cities like actually work.
So it's like instead of just people making decisions
Ah,
about the city, we've got to think about how those decisions are being like shaped by the apps themselves.
exactly.
Okay.
Like Airbnb, for instance.
Okay.
It's not out there, directly bulldozing neighborhoods or setting rent prices,
Right.
but it's creating this kind of like digital stage where a whole bunch of human decisions start playing out.
Yeah.
And those decisions have very real consequences for the city.
So it's like Airbnb is kind of like the set designer,
Yeah,
but the actual drama is happening between all the people using it.
exactly.
Okay.
And the plot thickens, right? When you start to look at how this digital stage that Airbnb creates actually influences the actors themselves.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So take property owners, for example.
Yeah.
With Airbnb, they can often make way more money by renting short-term to tourists
Right.
than they can from like long-term renters.
Yeah, and I bet that has a huge impact on like, affordable housing, which is something that article I was mentioning it touched on.
Oh, absolutely.
It was even saying that some cities are having like a legal nightmare trying to even like regulate all this.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like what even is an Airbnb? Is it a hotel?
Right.
Is it a home business? It's like it totally blurs the lines, and it's causing a zoning headache for a lot of cities.
Totally.
A lot of local governments are like scrambling to keep up.
So it's like you've got individual homeowners making decisions
Mm.
about their properties, but then you've got these like bigger forces at play, the
Yeah.
algorithms, the regulations, even the tourists themselves.
Totally.
It's like this whole ecosystem of interconnected choices.
Exactly. So it's a
And-
fascinating interplay between individual actions
Yeah.
and these larger systems
Yeah.
that platforms like Airbnb create and operate within.
Right.
And it gets even more like intricate
Mhm.
when you factor in things like, well, platforms kind of built in mechanisms for shaping user behavior.
You mean like how they use algorithms and reviews?
That.
Tell me more about that. Because I've always wondered how much those things really influence my choices when I'm like looking at listings.
It's more than you might think.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, have you ever noticed how when you're searching on Airbnb,
yeah.
certain listings like magically appear at the top?
Oh, yeah. The ones with the swimming pools.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not by chance.
Right.
That's the algorithm, baby.
Yeah.
It's designed to keep you clicking, keep you on the platform,
Wow.
and it can literally make or break a host's success.
And it's not even just about like which listings get seen first, right?
Right.
The whole review system
Yeah.
feels like it's designed to
Yeah.
influence how people manage their places.
Absolutely.
And like
Yes.
interact with their guests.
It's true. Hosts are really learning, like, what makes a listing pop on the platform.
Yeah.
And it's not just about having, a nice place anymore.
Right.
They might, like, renovate to appeal to the algorithm,
Oh, wow.
adjust their pricing,
Yeah.
like, constantly based on demand, or even change how they act with guests
Yeah.
based on those all-important reviews.
So, totally. I am so much more likely to book a place with like tons of positive reviews.
Right.
Even if it means like sacrificing some space or convenience. Like
Yeah,
those 5-star ratings are like gold.
they are.
Don't even get me started, I swear.
Right.
Those things can make a shoebox apartment with paper-thin walls
Yeah. Yeah.
seem charming.
Totally. It's like those reviews create this whole other layer of experience
Yes.
that goes way beyond just the physical space.
Totally. It's like a whole performance almost, right?
It is. It's totally a performance.
Right.
Those 5-star ratings, they become like
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
currency,
Right.
and hosts are realizing that their success on the platform depends on way more than just providing a place to sleep.
Yeah.
You're rated on your communication, your
Yeah.
cleanliness,
Oh, yeah.
your overall hostability. It's a whole thing.
Okay, so we've got algorithms
Mm.
pushing certain types of listings. We've got reviews shaping how hosts behave.
Yeah.
And we've got all these like individual decisions
Re-
feeding back into the system.
Exactly.
It's starting to feel a lot less like a free market
Mm.
and a lot more like,
Yeah. What is that?
help me out here.
Well, that's the heart of it, right?
Okay.
What we're seeing with Airbnb is like a shift from simply facilitating transactions
Okay.
to actually shaping the urban landscape.
Wow.
And this isn't just happening, on a local level.
Right.
This is global.
Okay, now we're going global.
We're going global.
I'm intrigued.
Tell me more.
So think about those articles you see about global investment firms buying up properties.
Right.
Turns out platforms like Airbnb can actually make that even easier,
Oh, wow.
which obviously has huge implications for, housing affordability worldwide.
It's like that whole Airbnb is pushing out locals argument, but like on a much larger scale.
Exactly. A global scale.
Right. And there's actually a ton of research being done on this specific topic.
Really?
Yeah. Some studies are even showing a correlation between like the rise of platforms like Airbnb
Mm-hmm.
and an increase in property values in neighborhoods,
Wow.
making it, much harder for locals to afford to,
Yeah,
live in their own cities.
that's a scary thought.
It is. It's a big issue.
What about the impact on tourism?
Yeah.
Because it seems like Airbnb lets travelers kind of experience cities differently,
Right.
often bypassing those traditional tourist zones
Mm-hmm.
and diving straight into residential neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Which
Sure.
that's going to have some interesting effects, right?
It totally changes the dynamic because on the one hand, it can be great for local economies,
Right.
especially in those neighborhoods, right?
Right.
More people walking around, more exposure for those, mom and pop shops.
Right.
It can create this more authentic, immersive travel experience.
Yeah, I can see the appeal of feeling like a local instead of a tourist.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Right.
having all these short-term visitors coming in
Yeah.
can also lead to, overcrowding,
Right.
cultural clashes,
Mm-hmm.
this feeling that those neighborhoods are losing, their character.
Right. It's like they're being Disney-fied.
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword for sure.
So it's like Airbnb is this powerful lens, right?
Yeah,
It's magnifying both the positive and negative aspects of tourism
right.
in a way that we haven't figured out how to manage yet.
It's true. And it's not even just about managing tourism at this point. It's about recognizing the massive ways these platforms are reshaping how we even think about cities.
Yeah.
They're changing how we think about housing, how we experience our own neighborhoods,
Right.
and even how we interact with each other in these shared urban spaces.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I walk through my neighborhood almost every day. But after this conversation, I'm seeing those little Airbnb icons
Yeah.
in a whole new light.
And that's the point,
Yeah.
right? We're not here to demonize Airbnb or any other platform.
Right.
It's about understanding the complexity of these systems
Right.
and how they're reshaping our cities in ways that, honestly, we're only just beginning to grasp.
So where do we go from here? It feels like we've uncovered this whole hidden layer of how cities work.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming.
It's a lot to take in, for sure.
Should we all just delete our accounts and hide?
That's not the answer.
Okay.
It's not about, good versus bad or anything.
Yeah.
It's about, pulling back the curtain
Yeah.
and just sort of exposing these systems
Right.
that are actually shaping our cities.
You're right. It's about understanding that. These little icons on our phones represent something so much bigger than just a place to crash for the weekend.
Exactly. And once you see it, knowledge is power. So next time you open that app,
Yeah.
think about those algorithms.
Okay.
Think about when you walk through your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, the impact of short-term rentals.
Right.
Are there still local businesses? Are they thriving?
Yeah.
Or are they being kind of pushed out?
Yeah.
Is there a sense of community, or does it feel like a revolving door of strangers?
It's like Airbnb is this giant social experiment
It really is.
happening in cities all over the world.
Yeah.
And we're all kind of part of it,
We are, whether we realize it or not. Yeah.
even if we don't even use it.
Exactly.
So what can we do? If we want to actually have a say in how our neighborhoods evolve,
Yeah.
where do we even begin?
I mean, awareness is the first step, right?
Right.
And then you can start to think about action.
Okay.
So, supporting local initiatives like affordable housing,
Okay.
getting involved in conversations about how your city regulates short-term rentals,
Okay.
supporting those businesses,
Right. The mom and pop shops.
mom and pop shops. Exactly.
Yeah.
The things that actually give a neighborhood its character.
It's like thinking beyond just like our own individual experience and recognizing that like all of our choices, they
Yeah.
have these ripple effects
These
on like the whole ecosystem
100%.
of the city.
It's about kind of understanding those connections and then advocating for the kind of future that you want to see.
So like, what would you say to people listening
Yeah.
who, are just tuning into these ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what we really wanted to get across in this conversation
Yeah.
was just how complex all of this is.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's not simple.
Yeah.
There's no easy answers.
Right.
But just starting to understand the forces at play, that's the first step to actually making a difference.
I love that. Well, I think this has been such an amazing deep dive.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really eye-opening.
It is. It's fascinating stuff.
It is. And it's amazing how something like, as simple as like booking a place to stay
I know, right?
can connect to these much bigger questions
Totally.
about the future of like where we live and how we live.
100%. It's all connected.
Well, for everyone listening, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into, Airbnb in the city.
It's a big topic.
It is a big topic.
A lot to unpack there.
And, it's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Definitely not.
But we hope that, just by understanding these systems a little bit better,
Yeah.
we can all kind of be part of creating, a more thoughtful, a more equitable
Totally.
urban future.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
For more on this topic, definitely check out the show notes.
Lots of good stuff in there.
We've got links to all the research, articles, so you can do your own deep dive.
Your own deep dive, exactly.
Until next time.
See you later. Happy exploring.